Good morning. Just after 6, it's Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. And down there, Miss Erin has local news up next.
We have a major city funding problem on the pension front. We'll talk about that. We dodged a bullet in terms of storms in our area, and the fetal heartbeat abortion ban bill passes.
Missed a lot of cool stuff yesterday. You got to catch me up, including what happened at the city council meeting.
Oh, boy.
And I came in at the very end of your conversation yesterday with Caddo Superintendent Lamar Gorey. Mm-hmm. And when I say the very end, I mean thanks for joining us. And he's going, bye.
Oh, yeah, it got heated.
And then the look on your face was like, Durr.
We need to replay that this
You
morning.
got to explain if nothing else.
Yeah.
Fletcher Sports, traffic, and weather coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
KEEL Morning Report, now on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Shreveport leaders facing a monumental financial crisis on the pension front. Councilman John Nicholson telling KEEL News the city's pension fund is dwindling.
The actuary report that we received showed that the funding ratio wasn't going up from 48. Instead, it went down last year to 41%.
Nicholson says the city's been battling this problem for years, but more changes will likely have to be made. Storms roar across Texas, damage reports still coming in, multiple tornadoes reported in the Canton, Texas area. The fetal heartbeat bill passes. This would outlaw almost all abortions, but the bill won't go into effect until the Mississippi law faces a full constitutional challenge. Lawmakers getting closer to making you put that cell phone down while driving. The House has passed a ban on handheld cell phones behind the wheel. The bill now headed to the Senate. Shreveport Council wants to talk about dilapidated shopping center. We get more on that from Matt Parker.
A large portion of the Bayou Walk Shopping Center has been closed for 5 years after the properties were deemed unsafe and unstable. Shreveport Councilman Grayson Butcher wants the city to take a look at the properties. Butcher said that he wants the city to work with the property owners to clean out the retail spaces, make sure they are structurally sound, and hopefully get them reopened. Butcher says not only are the properties an eyesore, but their condition will only get worse if not addressed soon. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Cal Alexander from Caddo Middle Magnet once again competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. It's his third trip to the competition finals, which will be airing on ESPN. The Shreveport Council votes to reduce funding to crossing guards by $75,000 a year, calling on the school board to chip in more. We got this reaction from Superintendent Dr. Lamar Gorey.
My charge is to provide quality education and to utilize our resources to ensure that teachers in the classroom have everything they need. I have no governance over governing public streets.
Currently, Shreveport police are paying more than $270,000, while the Caddo School Board pays about $12,000. Following the decision, the school board issued a statement saying public safety is not the responsibility of the school district. The House and Senate at odds over whether or not to include a $39 million funding increase for public schools on top of a $1,000 pay raise for teachers. A portion of the $39 million would help keep increased benefits costs from a pay raise from falling back on educators, and Louisiana Federation of Teachers President Larry Carter says the rest goes to the kids.
70% of that goes directly into the classroom for school supplies, technology, to help support students who have difficulties as well.
The union president says his members are frustrated that their pay is notably lower than other states, but they're willing to take baby steps toward a better wage. New privacy changes on the way for your Amazon Echo devices. You'll soon be able to tell Alexa to erase every command you've given her each day, so Amazon won't be able to collect and store your information. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Thursday morning traffic kicking it off. Kicking it off. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-20 westbound's got to clear all the way to Dallas right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon, mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
May I repeat what you just said?
Sure.
Matt just said, and it'll come together here in a second. Like most things, it's confusing, and no one really knows what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair.
Sounds governmental. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Let's get right down to business.
Yeah.
So yesterday, in my absence, you had in for the run of the show is City Councilwoman Lavette Fuller. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I guess you got a call from tell me about this.
Yeah, we were talking about the crossing guard issue. The city council cut $75,000 from their funding for that.
Okay, now let's break that down.
The
How
city
much
spends $270,000 from the police department budget. The school board pitches in about $12,000.
Okay, wait a second. So right now, 270. So combined, there's about $282,000 spent on school crossing guards. The city of Shreveport spends tosses in, kicks in $270,000.
Well, the school board voted Tuesday to cut that by the city council voted Tuesday to cut that by $75,000.
So what prompted the conversation yesterday between you and Ms. Fuller? And on the phone, you had Superintendent Gorey.
Oh, Dr. Gorey called in. His people called in and said he wants to come on because he wants to clear up some of the misinformation about this.
What was the misinformation? I assume that
whether or not he was involved in discussing it.
In his mind, what was it that Ms. Fuller said that was misinformed?
She said that it was the duty of the school system to pay for the crossing guards, and the city was just being kind and helping.
I would imagine at some point she brought up her repeated point that Shreveport, sort of financially speaking, tapped out.
Absolutely.
Well, first off, I've not been involved in this conversation, so everything I'm getting secondhand, third hand. I've had a conversation with the mayor, but certainly no one from the council. What I will say, though, is that, my concern, of course, is the public safety. We do see this as a public safety issue, and again, timeliness of communication with families, because this is a service that our citizens, our parents, rely on the city to provide. So very concerned with how this will play out.
City council members, including Lavette Fuller, have said that this is an issue that really is in the responsibility realm of the school system.
No, and see, I absolutely disagree. My charge is to provide quality education and to utilize our resources to ensure that teachers in the classroom have everything they need. I have no governance over governing public streets. We have no problem, and we've had a healthy relationship with the city of Shreveport with officers on our campuses. I mean, about $2 million a year we spend for those officers to help us secure inside of our school campus. But we cannot police streets in front of the children's homes, much less the streets in front of the schools. So we have no ability to impede traffic. We are not in the public safety business, but we're in the business of educating children.
Respectfully, I'm gonna push back a little bit, Superintendent.
Please do.
We're not asking you to take over the policies and procedures. We're asking you to do what you do for the security of the students that you're paying for already on your campuses. We're asking you to take on investing that money in that public safety while we still continue to provide the service.
Right, and again, and I'm going to push back as well, because you have to understand that we are providing an educational service when we're securing the school. It's not about the safety of the street when that happens. So in our responsibility, as we see it, begins on that campus. We cannot begin to fund efforts to police the streets, and that's a service.
So you're saying that your responsibility doesn't extend to the kids waiting at a bus stop that are using a Caddo school bus?
So when they're at the bus stop, we do provide safety measures for them at that bus stop. But when it comes to children crossing the public streets to get to the school, that is outside of our realm of responsibility.
So you were paying part of it, though. So why were you paying part of it if it wasn't your responsibility at all?
So let me tell you how that came about. That $12,000 that we're paying came about because there was a pay raise that was given to city employees, and the crossing guards were not included in that pay raise. This happened, I think, in 2012. As a part of helping to ensure that those crossing guards got that raise, the decision was made by that school board at that time to pay a part of that. So the school system certainly does pay that $12,000 and have budgeted that $12,000 to support what the decision was of that school board. At this time, though, and if you look at large school systems across our state, we're receiving, all of us are fighting budget woes as well as the city. And I understand and respect what the city council has done, but we're all fighting budget woes. And in that respect, we're not in a position to extend that any farther at this time.
So what now, Dr. Gorey? Do we cut back some of these guards? Do you get with the city and see what we do?
That's a city decision. And, the only thing we want to do is make sure that we support whatever their decision is, and we inform the parents, though. But that is a public safety issue. These people are not our employees, and unfortunately, we can only support what the city council and the city decides to do in this effort.
Would you be willing to chip in any more at all at this point?
It's not my recommendation that we chip in anything else at this point. No.
Wow.
So then, it would be up to the city to cut back. I mean, if they're going to cut $75,000, they got to cut $75,000 worth of people out.
Right, and Erin, that's not my decision. That's the decision of the city. I'm dealing with cutting sabbatical leaves at this point. I'm dealing with issues around cutting driver's ed. So there are several issues that I'm dealing with, and I certainly won't ask the city to support or make those decisions, as I won't make theirs.
But you have to know where the crossing guards are most needed. Don't you think your school people could help with those decisions?
Absolutely, and we're in contact. You know, in fact, I've been in contact with the mayor's office. We'll be more than happy to, after they tell us what they're going to do, to help support them in making the best decisions based on what's left in the budget. We'll be more than happy to do that. And again, we will do everything we can to maintain safety, but we don't see this as an education issue, but as a public safety issue. I think we're being treated as though this is a service to the school system, where this is a service to the citizens of the parish.
Okay, here's the elephant in the room. August 5th comes. A child is hit by a car on a street where there's no crossing guard, where there used to be a crossing guard. What's going to happen then? Who's going to get sued?
I think we might both get sued.
I think we both get sued, absolutely. We would both probably get sued in that situation. But again, I do look to work with the mayor's office as he continues to make decisions. Mayor Perkins has reached out and has definitely talked about, okay, let's talk about if this is going to happen, what are the reductions? And my staff will certainly work with him in that happening. But it's very unfortunate because a lot of the places where this is happening, these children truly have relied on this service. So we'll do everything we can to support the city in their decision now.
One last question. The statement you guys sent out said that school board was not involved in this decision and were not contacted. Real disappointed in that. And
you and me both. We have searched every system of communication that we have, and I have yet to be contacted and invited to any meeting concerning this.
You were invited to a public
fact,
safety meeting.
I was never invited to a safety meeting.
Well,
let me explain something to you, Livette.
Okay.
I was in Washington, D.C. with the Amazing Shake trip. I can tell you when I'm going to be there next year. I was never invited.
That was not what I was told. My understanding is that you had been invited to the public safety meeting.
And I would refute that to anyone who tells you they invited me, and I'd ask you to ask them to show you the invitation. Electronically or any type of way.
Need to find that, definitely.
Nobody has called me.
1017 FM, 710 KEEL traffic time. Ruben's ready.
Looks like I-20 westbound's got to clear all the way to Dallas right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon, mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
101.7 FM 710 Keel. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Game 1 of the NBA Finals will be tonight in Toronto. The Raptors, playing for the first time for a championship, are actually 1-point favorites over the defending champion Golden State Warriors. Stanley Cup Finals last night. The St. Louis Blues, Carl Gunnarsson, lit the lamp 3 minutes, 51 seconds into overtime to give the Blues a 3-2 win over Boston in Boston to even the series at 1 win apiece. That's the first Stanley Cup Finals win after 13 losses for the St. Louis Blues. They had the worst finals record in any U.S. professional sport before that goal from Gunnarsson. The Cubs beat the Astros 2-1 last night. Kyle Hendricks, his fourth straight win. Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, each hit home runs. Albert Almora Jr. lined a foul ball into the seats that injured a young girl during the game last night. Astros officials say the girl was taken to a hospital but provided no further updates. Almora was visibly shaken immediately, and between innings, he and a security guard who was in the area where the girl was hit consoled each other, and you could see that Almora was still visibly shaking and crying. Almora, the father of 2 young boys, said afterward, "God willing, I'll be able to have a relationship with this little girl for the rest of my life." The Rangers beat the Mariners 8-7. Seattle committed 3 errors and a wild pitch in 1 inning. They lead the league with 63 errors overall. Hunter Pence, Shin-Soo Choo, and Asdrubal Cabrera each had 2 RBI for the Rangers. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Jay Watley is here for a couple of seconds. I guess he's on his way. Can we say where you're going?
Yeah, sure.
You headed to play golf this morning and stopped by here to grab your lucky hat.
What's he doing in here?
I have a gambling story.
I left the horse outside. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Levette's watering it right now. I have a gambling story. He was wandering in, and I said, "Do you have a second?" He said, "Yes." I have an awesome... Because you gamble occasionally.
Yeah.
You play cards. You'll bet on practically anything.
Anything.
As will everyone else in my family.
Yeah.
Everybody in my family is an inveterate gambler, save for myself. And I will make that point with the following story. So my brother and I go to... I meant to tell you this Monday, and it just slipped my mind. There was too much other stuff. So we go to dinner, never mind where, but off in the bushes, as this is the kind of thing you see in Shreveport. In the bushes, in the high grass, soiled, muddy, been there for a while, is a pair of blue jeans. Now, the first thing one of my brothers says is, "Good Lord, how do you lose a pair of blue jeans in the
Yeah.
Then the jokes started. Well, there's a number of ways, and we shan't get into that. But as we're in the car, one brother says to the other, "Wonder what size those things are."
No, they're not going to go back. Oh, my God.
"I don't know. What do you think?" "I don't know. What do you bet?" What do you think my brothers bet on? What do you think my brothers bet on pertaining to those blue jeans?
The over and under on the size.
More than that.
The exact size?
The combined inches, over and under, on the combined inches of the waist and inseam.
Oh, my God. So y'all had to go back and get them?
Yeah, I didn't. They did. The over-under was 66.
Oh, my gosh.
And they bet drinks. Well, dinner, actually.
Wow.
They bet. The over-under was 66. I wrote it down. It was a pair of 36 32s. So the over-under, it was 68, and so 66.
Oh, my gosh.
Those are guys. But Jay is looking at me going, I'd bet on that.
He'd bet that, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
He wants a piece of that. Yeah.
The whole story had a great foundation for a great bet, and I'm glad it got there. That is worthy of a bet.
Jay will bet what color your booger is when you pick it.
Who bets on stuff?
Good odds.
Yeah.
There's great odds on it.
Green, you know? Yeah.
Who bets on stuff like that? My brother once told me, and you'll get this because you play everything. He said, the best feeling in the world is the instant before you know whether you win or lose.
Yeah.
No, I don't agree with that at all.
No, before you.
No, to win, you win. That's a little better than the anticipation.
Want to bet over under on your golf score today?
Yeah.
I'll take 120. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic update now. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-20 westbound's got to clear all the way to Dallas right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon. Mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
Information. KEEL News now.
At least one, possibly more tornadoes slamming towns in East Texas. National Weather Service forecaster Jared Geyer.
It does appear that there were at least several tornadoes in and around the east of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. In particular, it does look like the Canton, Texas area was impacted by a tornado yesterday afternoon based on preliminary reports. There are probably a couple of other tornadoes scattered about the area, but in general, those were across the northeast part of Texas.
No serious injuries reported. A large part of the Bayou Walk shopping center has been closed for 5 years after the properties were deemed unsafe and unstable. Councilman Grayson Butcher wants the city to take a look at the properties. He says he wants the city to work with the property owners to clean out the retail spaces, make sure they're structurally sound, and hopefully get them reopened. a local student to compete in the National Spelling Bee. Matt Parker with that.
Cal Alexander from Caddo Middle Magnet is once again competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. This is Alexander's third trip to the competition's finals, but Cal isn't the only North Louisiana student to advance to the finals of the contest. Davika Dua from Ruston and Brene Washington from Monroe have also advanced in the contest. The finals of the competition will air on ESPN. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Patients in Louisiana still without medical marijuana. The first round of medicinal marijuana was due at pharmacies the first of the year, but due to red tape and several delays, the medicine still hasn't made its way to patients. According to GB Sciences, the first batch should make its way to customers in June, but many fear another round of delays. A bill banning you from holding your cell phone while behind the wheel is headed to the Senate after a heated discussion on the House floor. Slidell Representative Kevin Pearson says the legislation will save money on insurance rates, but more importantly, likely save the lives of Louisiana drivers, particularly teenagers.
If someone comes to you and says you're taking away my individual rights, say, well, I'm just trying to save your life.
But opponents hammered home the argument that the proposal was government overreach. Shreveport leaders facing a monumental financial crisis on the pension front. Councilman John Nicholson telling KEEL News the city's pension fund is dwindling.
We now are in an even worse situation than we were last year, and the actuaries' projections show that if we don't do something, if we don't change something, our pension system assets will continue to decline in a way that will threaten our ability to keep the promises that we are making.
Nicholson says the city's been battling this problem for years, but more changes will likely have to be made. The fetal heartbeat bill passes. This would outlaw almost all abortions, but the bill won't go into effect until the Mississippi law faces a full constitutional challenge. Cal Alexander from Caddo Middle Magnet once again competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. It's his third trip to the competition finals, which will be airing on ESPN. The Shreveport Council votes to reduce funding to crossing guards by $75,000 a year, calling on the school board to chip in more. We got this reaction from Superintendent Dr. Lamar Gorey.
You know, my concern, of course, is the public safety. We do see this as a public safety issue, and again, timeliness of communication with families, because this is a service that our citizens, our parents, rely on the city to provide. So very concerned with how this will play out.
Currently, Shreveport police are paying more than $270,000, while the Caddo School Board pays about $12,000. Following the decision, the school board issued a statement saying public safety is not the responsibility of the school district. Most Americans are satisfied when they fly. In fact, 7 years in a row, the satisfaction index is up. And the NFL owners are talking about expanding the season to 18 games. Players not in favor of it. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
One 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, going to talk sports gambling and some other stuff in the next segment.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Ronnie Jones, State Gaming Control Board Commissioner, on yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he had some. It's doomed. It's dead. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's DOA.
But I'll tell you about that. A little more, some stuff you may not have seen. Put this on Facebook last night. I want your opinion. And yours too, Parky, if you are so inclined.
Okay.
So, if there were a pay-per-view Jeopardy Ken Jennings versus James Holzhauer. Would you watch?
Oh, yeah.
How much would you be willing to pay? If it's pay-per-view, it's like, imagine Tiger and Phil of Jeopardy. $10 million winner take all.
I'd find a way to steal it.
And it's like $29 and it's like $29.95 or $19.95, whatever it happens to be. Would you pay to watch? And then they take the number 3 guy of all time, whose name I forget.
Yeah.
If it were the top 3 Jeopardy guys of all time, if it were Ken Jennings, who's a little older now, somebody said, well, he's a little older, probably not as sharp. I'm going, wait a second, he's probably barely 50.
Yeah, he's a young guy still.
James
But
Holzhauer.
Man, he's a... Did you watch him last night?
No, I haven't watched any of it.
He knows so much.
How do you know
stuff.
that? I've said that a million times. That's my question. I've seen clips.
Do you know what he does?
How do you know that?
He reads children's books that have historic information in them. And that's how he's able to remember so much.
There was a story I read a couple of days ago, and it's basically how baby boomers became literate and or literary. And it talked about not only that, like Classics Illustrated, but remember those comic books? Does anyone remember illustrated comic books?
Yep.
And all the historical and or popular culture references in cartoons,
Yes.
i.e., look, the chicken sings like Bing Crosby. And my dad would go, that chicken is supposed to be Bing,
Right.
that chicken is supposed to be Bing Crosby. Now, if you're wondering why my dad was watching cartoons, that's another story.
Yeah.
But there's something to that.
There is something to that.
But
There's
you know
no
what?
doubt.
He belittles his own intellect. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant, or at least a sponge
Right.
for knowledge.
What I find for me when I watch him, because I'm now a regular, you know, I watch Jeopardy every now and then, but when there's somebody on a roll, I watch them. Is I feel like a moron. I feel so stupid.
I think it was Robert Pugh that put that up last night on this. He said, "I wouldn't pay money to remind myself how little I know."
Oh, it's awful.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update right now. Here's Ruben.
Starting things off looking pretty clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Uri Drive near East Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon, mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app is a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. So you had Ronnie Jones on yesterday. Replay that at what, 710? So you decide.
Yeah, probably 7:10.
Yeah, because we have John Milkovich at 7:40.
Yeah, John Milkovich's abortion bill passed.
So you had Ronnie Jones on yesterday talking about, I assume, the demise of sports gambling in Louisiana, at least for this session.
And Matt's head was kind of exploding.
Why?
Well,
let's ask Matt. Why?
Yeah, why, Matt?
It's just frustrating that something so simple gets so convoluted and just messed up as soon as it gets into the hands of
Explain
legislature.
what you mean.
Well, basically, the bill said, "Hey, we think sports betting is a good idea. Let's give it to the people and see if they want it." That was generally the original bill that Senator Martini wrote.
It didn't even get out of committee, did it?
Not on the House. Well, let me rephrase that. It passed the Senate committee, passed the Senate, passed the House Judiciary Committee, and then they want
Ways and Means or something like that?
And then they moved it to the Appropriations Committee instead of putting it on the House floor after it made it out of committee, which is a whole nother thing. Basically, the people that quote-unquote don't want to expand gaming, even though it's one of our leading industries, did everything they could to make sure this thing died.
Now, that's interesting you mentioned that. Let me read this. This is a column on the Hayride at thehayride.com last night, and it makes... What do you think about that? You know, what is your feeling on sports gaming? Yay, nay, do you care?
Yeah, I want it to be legal.
Do you?
Because people I know are illegally gambling now.
Dr. Will Hall, director. Now, don't think so much about the source, i.e. Dr. Hall, of the Louisiana Baptist Convention. But I want you to listen to some of the numbers, because he gave a speech a couple of days ago down in Baton Rouge, and here are some of the points he made. Dr. Will Hall, director of the Louisiana Baptist Convention Office of Public Policy, gave an impassioned and persuasive speech in opposition to legalized, this is sports betting in Louisiana, during the committee's hearing on the bill, and it made an impact. Hall noted, now this is the part I want you to pay close attention to, because I assume this man is just not pulling numbers out of thin air. Hall noted that studies have been done indicating that Louisiana has the fourth highest incidence of problem gambling in the country, and expanding legalized gambling in the state is likely to only make that situation worse. Hall also cited studies indicating that when the cost of problem gambling, whether in criminal activity, lost purchasing power from gambling losses, family breakups, are added to the state's economy, the state is actually losing close to $100 million a year on gambling as it now exists.
Interesting. Well, we did talk to Ronnie. Will talk about, when you hear that interview back at 7:10. He will talk about this is one attempt to help our casinos who are bleeding customers, who are flailing. Many of them are flailing to keep the doors open because of competition.
You know, the
from Oklahoma, and soon to be competition in Arkansas.
But the point's been made. The number 6 of our 6 casinos is still doing $2 million a month. So if you've got a business that's doing, as was pointed out, I think it was Greg Adams said, you got a business doing $2 million a month and you're calling it a loser and saying it needs to move away.
Well, the point to go beyond that is that might be right at their expenses. That might be what it costs them to run that boat. They might not be making any profit. You know, so you gotta factor that in too.
Not to mention, just because they made $2 million this year, last year they made $4 million. It's not like they're staying flat or going, or even in the neighborhood. They're consistently going down, while business in neighboring states like Mississippi are going up.
The point here is you have the gambling boats. You put them in place. Do you just wave your hands and say, let them figure it out? Or do you try to help them stay in business?
The point I've made repeatedly is that we in Louisiana have so legislated ourselves into a corner when it comes to casino gambling. Well, it's got to be on the river. Well, you can move it on land, but not more than 1,200 feet. We'll have amphibious casinos, as though that, and then they put on top of that, they increased the limit of gaming stations per casino, but it's still only like 2,300. And you're competing in Oklahoma, for example,
the
against
mega casinos,
a 500,000 square foot casino with virtually unlimited gaming positions.
And 2.5 hours away, soon you'll have gambling at Oaklawn.
The point is this. Has the Louisiana legislature, have we, the people of Louisiana, just decided just to let it die slowly on the vine?
It's a lot of jobs.
And if we haven't, well, look, it's the solution that was offered. What did they pay? $125,000 for that Shreveport-Bossier gaming study, the demographic, the breakdown of gambling in Shreveport and Bossier. And their solution was, their number one with a bullet solution was, well, just shut down 2 or move 2 of the casinos.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, it's saying that your potential is incredibly limited. What you need to do is just move 2.
You're not going to grow your audience now.
The way to grow your customer base is to lose competition.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It'd be like telling Pepsi, y'all need to just shut your doors so Coke can be more profitable because Coke's losing money right now.
Well, I think we're talking Dr. Thunder now when it comes to Diamond Jacks, but I mean, but basically, I mean, look, Diamond Jacks was ready to go. They wanted to go to Tangipahoa Parish. And the people down there said they had the spot, they had the boat license, they had all their ducks lined up.
Well, they hadn't voted on it yet. That's a little bit of a problem.
No, the people down there voted no.
Right, they had to vote again, right. They were going to have to revote, and they didn't want to do that, so. I don't know what you do. It's dead this session, and it can't come up for 2 years.
In a nutshell, so to speak, what did Ronnie cover in yesterday's? We'll replay in a few minutes.
Does it have any life left? How much money sports betting could have brought into the state? That's an interesting topic because that's hard to tell. Are people like me? I mean, friends of mine, are they going to still bet with their bookies or
have
whoever?
Have you been to Oklahoma?
No, I have not.
So
Friends have.
It's basically the Cedric Glover warning of so many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
If the casinos in Shreveport-Bossier depend on the people of Shreveport-Bossier for their survival, then we're in a whole world of trouble. Because it's not bringing in new money, and all we're doing is recycling our cash. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-20 westbound's got to clear all the way to Dallas right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and the Weather Channel forecast. Kind of cloudy, a possibility of scattered storms today. Rain may be heavy at times. High today in the 80s. Right now, 70 at KEEL, 650. Here's your Money Now. 1017 FM 710 Keel. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Game 1 of the NBA Finals will be tonight in Toronto. The Raptors, playing for the first time for a championship, are actually 1-point favorites over the defending champion, Golden State Warriors. Stanley Cup Finals last night, the St. Louis Blues, Carl Gunnarsson lit the lamp 3 minutes, 51 seconds into overtime to give the Blues a 3-2 win over Boston in Boston to even the series at 1 win apiece. That's the first Stanley Cup Finals win after 13 losses for the St. Louis Blues. They had the worst finals record in any U.S. professional sport before that goal from Gunnarsson. The Cubs beat the Astros 2-1 last night. Kyle Hendricks, his fourth straight win. Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, each hit home runs. Albert Almora Jr. lined a foul ball into the seats that injured a young girl during the game last night. Astros officials say the girl was taken to a hospital but provided no further updates. Almora was visibly shaken immediately, and between innings, he and a security guard who was in the area where the girl was hit consoled each other, and you could see that Almora was still visibly shaking and crying. Almora, the father of 2 young boys, said afterward, "God willing, I'll be able to have a relationship with this little girl for the rest of my life." Rangers beat the Mariners 8-7. Seattle committed 3 errors and a wild pitch in 1 inning. They lead the league with 63 errors overall. Hunter Pence, Shin-Soo Choo, and Asdrubal Cabrera each had 2 RBI for the Rangers. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
One 1017 FM 710 Keel, Robert and Erin. So I wrote your headline for you. Say thank you.
No, I'm not going to put that because it's not really worded like that.
But somebody made that point?
No, not really.
Because my prospective headline...
No, you stretched it.
Really?
Yeah.
So what you said to me wasn't really true?
Not
okay, here's
quite.
basically, you said something to me that we'll cover in a second. And I said, well, here's your headline. Are hands-free cell phone bills, or cell phone legislation racist?
It's not that.
What was the story you found?
The story I found is on Fox 8 from New Orleans, and it's some folks who got up to object to the hands-free bill, which bans cell phone use while driving. So if you touch your cell phone while you're driving, you can be pulled over. It's probable cause to pull you over. You can get a ticket. But people stood up.
In other words, basically, is this sort of a saggy pants bill, digitally speaking?
Right. But people got up and said, I have an old car. My car doesn't have the Bluetooth. I have an old pickup truck. I live out in the country. I don't have all that fancy gadgets on my vehicles. It's more of an economic divide than it is a racial divide. Because a lot of people that live out in the rural area, they may have their older vehicles. They may not have a new schwanky vehicle with all
what was
the
that word again?
Schwanky.
Talk about this after 7 o'clock.
Okay.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Rush.
You know, folks, when the Democrats realize what just happened on immigration, their heads will explode again. Last week, President Trump directed federal agencies to start enforcing an immigration law that's been on the books for quite a while. The law requires sponsors of legal immigrants to repay the government for any food stamps, Medicaid, or other welfare benefits the immigrants use. Now, here's what will really stick in the Democrats' craw. The law was enacted in 1996 by their beloved Bill Clinton, Slick Willie. It was passed and signed into law by Clinton and then ignored until now. Today's Democrats won't find one thing to like about enforcing Clinton's law. It used to be normal for immigrants to understand up front that they had to support themselves in America. But modern Democrats believe immigrants, legal and illegal, have the right to just come in and immediately guzzle from the U.S. government teat. President Trump trying to put a stop to that with help from William Jefferson Blythe Clinton, 1996. And we're about to see how this plays with Democrats in 2019. It might not be pretty, and I kind of hope that it isn't. Did you know that there is a new victim of identity theft every 2 seconds? It means a criminal could be spending your money, applying for loans in your name, and even damaging your good credit, all without you even knowing. It's a good thing there's LifeLock identity theft protection. LifeLock uses proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats, like your social security number for sale on the dark web. And if you do have an issue involving identity theft, one of LifeLock's identity restoration specialists is going to work with you to fix it. Now, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions in all businesses, but with LifeLock, you get identity theft protection and additional features to help protect your devices against cyber threats for as low as $9.99 a month. So visit lifelock.com now. Use promo code RUSH. Save an extra 10% off your first year. That's lifelock.com. And don't forget the name RUSH as the promo code.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Ford Street's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Weather Channel forecast, kind of cloudy, scattered showers. Rain may be heavy at times. Today, highs in the 80s. It's 71 at Keel.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Just after 7 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, and Erin has local news up next.
If you're on a cell phone and you're driving, it'll soon be illegal. Maybe. We'll talk about that. A lot of people will have to change how they drive. The pension fund in Shreveport is in bad shape, and a little bit of a tiff between the school board and the city.
So speakerphone on the passenger seat just doesn't count anymore, right?
Nope.
No, oh my goodness.
Nope.
Okay, a replay. Ronnie Jones, who's the State Gaming Control Board Commissioner.
Chairman,
sorry. Going to replay that in a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Is sports gaming, is anything related to that in Louisiana doomed, dead, DOA, outlined in chalk, tag on its toe? Is that what you guys talked about yesterday?
Pretty much.
A rather interesting interview, to say the least. A replay in a couple of seconds, just because I want to hear what I missed.
Right.
Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather, and it's all here this hour, coming up on Keel.
On 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
A bill banning you from holding your cell phone while driving is now headed to the Senate after heated discussion on the House floor. New Orleans Representative Gary Carter says if a cop even thinks you might be touching your phone,
you're giving them probable cause to pull someone over, upset their life, search their cars, and those sorts of things, and that is objectionable.
He added a third offense would result in the suspension of your driver's license. Shreveport's pension plan seriously underfunded. It's something Councilman John Nicholson says has to be addressed urgently.
The city and its pension system had a bad year in the stock market, and that is not uncommon. Lots of people could say the same. So instead of making money on our investment, we lost about 3.75%.
Nicholson says the pension fund is just at 41% of where it should be. Cal Alexander from Caddo Middle Magnet once again competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. It's his third trip to the competition finals, but Cal's not the only North Louisiana student to advance to the finals. Davika Dua from Ruston and Brianne Washington from Monroe have also advanced. The finals will air on ESPN. Those in need still waiting for medical marijuana. Matt Parker with the latest.
Patients in Louisiana are still without medical marijuana. The first round of medical marijuana was due in pharmacies at the first of the year, but due to red tape and several delays, the medicine still has not made its way to patients. According to GB Sciences, the first batch of medical marijuana should make its way to customers in June, but many fear another round of delays. Many in need are buying the drug illegally or moving to other states that get the treatments they need. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
The Shreveport Council votes to reduce funding to crossing guards for schools by $75,000 a year, calling on the school board to chip in more. Dr. Lamar Gorey, the superintendent of schools, says it's not the school system's responsibility, though.
We are providing an educational service when we're securing the school. It's not about the safety of the street when that happens. So, and our responsibility, as we see it, begins on that campus. We cannot begin to fund efforts to police the street.
Currently, Shreveport Police paying more than $270,000, while the school board only pays about $12,000. Louisiana's version of a fetal heartbeat bill has gotten final passage in the House. An amendment to the bill called for exceptions for rape or incest. Shreveport Representative Alan Seabaugh opposed the amendment. He says children are not punished for the sins of their father, adding the way a child is conceived should not be a death sentence for that child.
If you want to bring legislation allowing the mother, the victim of rape, to choose to execute the rapist, I'm on board. I think that's a good amendment. That's a good bill. But this is not.
The measure is not expected to take effect anytime soon, though. Under the proposal, the restriction of abortions would not be enforceable until a federal appeals court rules on upholding a similar law in Mississippi. New rules from Uber. You can now be banned from using Uber if you get too many low ratings from drivers. And at the Strange Brew Festival in Nevada, they have some very odd offerings, including peanut butter beer, hot tamale beer, garlic bread beer, even macaroni and cheese beer. They even have just issued a Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Line Avenue near Kings Highway. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon, mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. The KEEL app is always a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. So sports gambling, fantasy.
Yeah.
What's the latest with the fantasy?
Fantasy's different.
Yeah, no, I understand.
They're still working on that, but it's got bogged down with all kind of amendments.
Is fantasy sports, Parky, you follow both of these closely. Is fantasy sports, i.e. DraftKings, FanDuel, and the ability of Louisiana citizens that have voted that they want to go to those websites in specific parishes? What is it, 47 out of 64? 4 want sports fantasy gaming in their areas, in their towns, in their parishes. Is that basically going to be the medical marijuana of gambling? Is it just
that's a good way to put it. Because
everybody in charge just coming up with a reason to not do it despite the will of the people?
Yeah, we passed it. It's legal, but they have to put quote-unquote definitions on it, and everyone's making that process extremely difficult where we're not getting to a result.
So back to sports gambling and casinos and everybody else. Where is the...
It doesn't look good.
Didn't make it out of committee. Parky, update me on that.
Well, it made it out of one House committee, the Judicial Committee, which typically, once it makes it out of committee, it moves to the House floor for a vote.
But why did it go to appropriations?
Because people were making, some legislators were making a bit of a racket.
Because the people who wanted it defeated had the power to make it go back to the committee.
And basically, once it got to the Appropriations Committee, they added a ton of amendments and killed it. Ronnie describes where the train came off the tracks here in a minute.
That's basically what you guys talked about with gaming commissioner Ronnie Jones yesterday. And the first question was, I guess, sports gambling, is it dead? DOA, tag on the toe. What's the status?
I would say it's certainly on life support. I've been around the legislature a long, long time, and I never really consider anything totally dead until the session is sine die. But it would take an incredible resurrection at this point to breathe any life back into Senator Martini's bill. I know they tried a couple of parliamentary moves yesterday on the House floor after the bill failed to get out of appropriations. It was heavily amended. And I haven't talked to the senator. I haven't talked to any of his staff, so I don't know if there's any plan today to try and do something. But I would say its future is perilous at this point.
Ronnie, where did things kind of go wrong? Because it seemed like, a lot of people were in support of this, that the Senate was for it, and then it just kind of came off the rails when they went on the House side.
I think it had good support on the Senate side. I don't want to second guess what the legislature had in mind when they amended Senator Martini's bill. I know that my staff had worked with his staff over the last 8 months or so to try and perfect a bill, put the language together that duplicated as much as possible what Mississippi had. I think Governor Edwards said early on that he would like to have sports betting for the state's industry, and he said, "I'd like to have what Mississippi has and maybe something better." So all of us worked really hard to try and put the language in there, and it didn't have a real problem on the Senate side, but it ran into some issues on the House side. Two particular issues. One was a move to authorize betting at video poker locations, and that would have made sports betting, available from one end of the state to the other at places other than the 20 casinos. And Senator Martini was real blunt about that last week when it came up in House Criminal Justice Committee. He said, you're going to kill my bill. If that's included in the bill, you're going to kill my bill, because that is truly an expansion of gaming, and that's not what I intended. And that amendment came off in criminal justice, but it was reattached yesterday in appropriation. And that's despite the fact that the largest video poker association in the state was taking a neutral position. They weren't pushing that, so I don't know where that amendment came from.
Let me
and the second
go ahead.
The second piece was the leagues, the professional sports leagues. They have tried in every state where sports betting is legal to find a way to require either integrity fees or to use exclusively their data. And what I said yesterday in committee is true. People have been betting in Las Vegas since 1949, and they haven't needed official league data to make sports betting work in Nevada. And the rest of the states that it's legal today aren't authorized to do that. So I think the leagues complicated the discussion, and it was Wade Duty perhaps said it best. He represents the Casino Association of Louisiana. He said, you've loaded so many bags on the plane, it's not going to be able to take off.
I'm glad you brought him up, because he said yesterday, too, that you can't bring this back up for another 2 years, and in the meantime, our casinos will continue to bleed customers. I think that's a direct quote. This was an attempt, I guess, in part, to help our casinos, correct?
That's correct, and you have to take into account that despite what the Spectrum report recommended for the state, ultimately it's the legislature that gets to make those decisions, and sometimes the legislature makes decisions before permitting the people to have their say, and that seems to be what happened yesterday. Public policy is established by the legislature, and that is the process.
Let me ask you this. Sports betting is going to be done with or without this law. How much money does Louisiana stand to lose because we didn't move with this now?
We're losing money every day. I mean, people have been betting on sports in Louisiana for years. They'll continue to do so primarily through the internet and also through local bookies. I mean, it's an illegal market. The citizens aren't protected because it's totally unregulated. I have no idea how much money we're losing. We're probably going to lose 150 legal money if it were authorized. 150 million was one of the estimates of revenue to the state. But I'm fairly certain that millions of dollars are being wagered every year in Louisiana illegally, and then a lot of people are going to Mississippi and spending their money in hotel rooms and restaurants and retail, and so it wasn't a good day for the casino industry in Louisiana yesterday by any means.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel Sports, just a couple of seconds away. Oh, we need to talk NFL, too. Right now, traffic time, here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Line Avenue near Kings Highway. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon, mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
On 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Time for sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 11:30 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Game 1 of the NBA Finals will be tonight in Toronto. The Raptors, playing for the first time for a championship, are actually 1-point favorites over the defending champion Golden State Warriors. Stanley Cup Finals last night. The St. Louis Blues, Carl Gunnarsson, lit the lamp 3 minutes, 51 seconds into overtime to give the Blues a 3-2 win over Boston in Boston to even the series at 1 win apiece. That's the first Stanley Cup Finals win after 13 losses for the St. Louis Blues. They had the worst finals record in any U.S. professional sport before that goal from Gunnarsson. The Cubs beat the Astros 2-1 last night. Kyle Hendricks, his fourth straight win. Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, each hit home runs. Albert Almora Jr. lined a foul ball into the seats that injured a young girl during the game last night. Astros officials say the girl was taken to a hospital but provided no further updates. Almora was visibly shaken immediately, and between innings, he and a security guard who was in the area where the girl was hit consoled each other, and you could see that Almora was still visibly shaking and crying. Almora, the father of 2 young boys, said afterward, "God willing, I'll be able to have a relationship with this little girl for the rest of my life." The Rangers beat the Mariners 8-7. Seattle committed 3 errors and a wild pitch in 1 inning. They lead the league with 63 errors overall. Hunter Pence, Shin-Soo Choo, and Asdrubal Cabrera each had 2 RBI for the Rangers. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.107 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So it's you had a story a while ago that the NFL, the owners, they want to go to 18-game season.
Yeah. Yeah, they want to expand the season to 18 games.
Negotiating ploy.
You think?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, the players' union is like never, not happening.
Negotiating ploy.
Right now, there's 16 games.
Negotiating.
How would they do it? Would they start the season earlier?
NFLPA, here's the headline, National Football League Players Association, advises players to plan for a work stoppage of at least 1 year.
Oh, boy.
With the NFL's collective bargaining agreement with the NFLPA set to expire after next season, the two sides are busy trying to negotiate a new deal this offseason. And although things seem to be going well, DeMaurice Smith, union boss, is telling players to plan for a work stoppage. Smith, who serves as the executive director of the Players Association, sent out an email to agents around the league this week telling them to make sure that their clients are financially prepared for a lockout of at least 12 months.
Oh, man.
So the players...
Strike, huh?
Well, yeah, they want guaranteed contracts. That's really what it's going to come down to. Guaranteed contracts. And the reason the owners don't want to do guaranteed contracts is because such a high number of players, percentage of players, it's football. They get hurt. It's not baseball or basketball. You know, guys aren't out there. You know, it's there's a lot of guys who don't finish their contracts.
Right.
And the owners, let's say it's 30%. Do NFL owners want to be on the hook for 30% of a roster that doesn't play? And paying, in other words, paying twice.
Yes. That's true. Oh, big skirmish in football.
So they want 18 game season. Believe me,
Never happened.
They're just negotiating.
Yeah.
Well, we'll take that off the table if you take guaranteed contracts.
Are you going to watch the NBA game tonight, by the way?
And if the problem with the players, if the beef the players have is injuries and those guaranteed contracts, i.e., I want my money guaranteed despite the high percentage of a possibility that I'm going to get hurt. 18 games means more players get hurt.
Oh, more games,
Will I watch
more
the
injuries.
NBA tonight? No, it's the NBA.
Come on.
No, I'll watch highlights.
It's the first finals game in Canada ever.
Whee! It's still a boring game.
It's not a boring game.
Up,
Use
back,
your DVR
up,
on fast
back,
forward.
Up. Oh, you're right. My God, when did Steph Curry so fast?
Oh boy.
101.7 FM. I somewhere along the line, and somewhere along the line, I just lost interest in all the up and back games except for hockey. I just did. Up and back.
I'm excited about it.
Up and back. Up and back.
Toronto's, I think, maybe has a shot.
Football. Up and back. Basketball. Up and back.
Yeah.
Hockey standing up to the bully. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Hollywood Avenue and Linwood Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon. Mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
KEEL News now.
At least one, possibly more tornadoes slamming towns in East Texas. National Weather Service forecaster Jared Geyer.
It does appear that there were at least several tornadoes in and around the east of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. In particular, it does look like the Canton, Texas area was impacted by a tornado yesterday afternoon based on preliminary reports. There are probably a couple of other tornadoes scattered about the area, but in general, those were across the northeast part of Texas.
No serious injuries reported. A large part of the Bayou Walk shopping center has been closed for 5 years after the properties were deemed unsafe and unstable. Councilman Grayson Butcher wants the city to take a look at the properties. He says he wants the city to work with the property owners to clean out the retail spaces, make sure they're structurally sound, and hopefully get them reopened. A local student to compete in the National Spelling Bee, Matt Parker with that.
Cal Alexander from Caddo Middle Magnet is once again competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. This is Alexander's third trip to the competition's finals, but Cal isn't the only North Louisiana student to advance to the finals of the contest. Davika Dua from Ruston and Brene Washington from Monroe have also advanced in the contest. The finals of the competition will air on ESPN. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Patients in Louisiana still without medical marijuana. The first round of medicinal marijuana was due at pharmacies the first of the year, but due to red tape and several delays, the medicine still hasn't made its way to patients. According to GB Sciences, the first batch should make its way to customers in June, but many fear another round of delays. A bill banning you from holding your cell phone while behind the wheel is headed to the Senate after a heated discussion on the House floor. Slidell Representative Kevin Pearson says the legislation will save money on insurance rates, but more importantly, likely save the lives of Louisiana drivers, particularly teenagers.
If someone comes to you and says you're taking away my individual rights, say, well, I'm just trying to save your life.
But opponents hammered home the argument that the proposal was government overreach. Shreveport leaders facing a monumental financial crisis on the pension front. Councilman John Nicholson telling KEEL News the city's pension fund is dwindling.
We now are in an even worse situation than we were last year, and the actuaries' projections show that if we don't do something, if we don't change something, our pension system assets will continue to decline in a way that will threaten our ability to keep the promises that we are making.
Nicholson says the city's been battling this problem for years, but more changes will likely have to be made. The fetal heartbeat bill passes. This would outlaw almost all abortions, but the bill won't go into effect until the Mississippi law faces a full constitutional challenge. Cal Alexander from Caddo Middle Magnet once again competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. It's his third trip to the competition finals, which will be airing on ESPN. The Shreveport Council votes to reduce funding to crossing guards by $75,000 a year, calling on the school board to chip in more. We got this reaction from Superintendent Dr. Lamar Gorey.
You know, my concern, of course, is the public safety. We do see this as a public safety issue, and again, timeliness of communication with families, because this is a service that our citizens, our parents, rely on the city to provide. So very concerned with how this will play out.
Currently, Shreveport police are paying more than $270,000, while the Caddo School Board pays about $12,000. Following the decision, the school board issued a statement saying public safety is not the responsibility of the school district. Most Americans are satisfied when they fly. In fact, 7 years in a row, the satisfaction index is up. And the NFL owners are talking about expanding the season to 18 games. Players not in favor of it. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
KEEL, Robert J. Wright, and Erin McCarty. As though there weren't enough in the world for Matt's head to explode about, so there's another delay in the delivery to medical medical marijuana to the areas already approved pharmacy area pharmacies.
Well, it's not another delay. It's the current delay we've been on. It's supposed
Just extended.
Well, it's supposed to be here next month, which is what they said last month.
When it was supposed to be here this month.
Yeah, but the problem is a lot of people are starting, like a lot of the patients are starting to go, all right, we need this treatment. They're not helping us out, so they're either buying marijuana illegally or they're literally moving from the state to somewhere where they can get the treatments they need.
When you say buying marijuana illegally, do you mean like marijuana as it exists on the street?
Yeah, like because even
or medicinal marijuana, which is basically the THC wise, it's the decaf coffee of marijuana.
They're buying legit drugs from legit drug dealers, like actual drug dealers, because they can't get the
legit drug dealers.
Well, I mean, like not like a pharmacist, not like a
not THC oil or the other forms.
Yeah, not the stuff that they actually need to help them, but they're getting like the raw form of the drug.
I said to you a couple of months ago, I said to you a while back, I said at the end of the day, is it Agriculture Commissioner Mike Strain who, for whatever reason, when he's in that position, will never, ever, ever let medicinal marijuana be sold in Louisiana. And it seems every time that there's a deadline, he, meaning the Ag Commissioner, comes up with something to another reason why, well, we got another delay. Oh, looks like we got another delay. Is, in your mind, does this lie at the feet of Commissioner Strain?
It definitely is his department's fault. And he can't hold it up forever, but he's definitely throwing up roadblocks any chance he gets.
Okay, go to break. When we come back, we have State Senator John Milkovich, the heartbeat bill, the abortion banning bill of his, now goes to the governor, right?
Mm-hmm. And is it meaningless or not?
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Hollywood Avenue and Linwood Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon, mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Louisiana State Senator John Milkovich is here. Hey, Mr. John, welcome back to KEEL. Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, Robert, how are you?
So your heartbeat bill, your anti-abortion bill has made it. It's going to the governor, right? What's going to happen next? Now the real fight starts.
And listen, it's our anti-abortion pro-life bill. This was the product of the prayers and work and hopes of hundreds of thousands of Louisianans, and it got passed by a very large majority by both houses of the Louisiana legislature, Louisiana Family Forum, Louisiana Right to Life, Concerned Women of America. This was teamwork.
So, as I said a couple of seconds ago, now the real fight starts, right?
Well, every one of these anti-abortion, pro-life bills is challenged by the abortion industry in the federal courts. So, yes, we now move on to the next phase of the fight, which is taking on the abortion industry in the federal courts. And I have long held that we should not refrain from doing the right thing as legislators now, because the federal courts may do the wrong thing in the future.
But your bill has an amendment tacked onto it that doesn't even let it go into effect until the Mississippi law makes its way through the court system. So our legal fight on this may be down the road a ways, right?
Well, we're not going to be spending litigation dollars on this immediately. That's right. The bill states that this act will not go into effect until the United States Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal rules on Mississippi's fetal heartbeat bill. And actually, I wasn't even in favor of that. I wanted for us to put it into place as soon as the law became effective. That amendment was made over my objection. I think we need to be very aggressive. The abortionists are ruthless, merciless, relentless in killing our babies. I think we need to fight back. And I've been tried to be very clear, not just speaking on my own behalf, but on behalf of the babies, the families, the Christians in Louisiana, that we need to go get in the parking lot and fight to protect our babies and keep the abortion industry from killing our children.
Mr. John, every step of the way, the governor, John Bel Edwards, said, I'll sign, I'll sign, I'll sign. Have you spoken to the governor the last couple of days? What do you anticipate?
I have not really. I'm sure he's very busy. He's got statewide responsibility. The short answer is no, I have not. But like you, I have seen his statements to the media that he intends to sign it, so we're very pleased with that.
John, let me ask you this is going to sound so cynical, but what the hell? Have you considered the fact, well, first of all, the governor's going to get a lot of criticism and probably a lot of blowback from the Democrat Party on a national level, and a lot of that has to do with funding. Has it occurred to you, has it occurred to other Democrats, as he says he'll sign this, that because of the legal ramifications is it possible he's saying behind the scenes to pro-lifers, i.e. on the national Democrat level, I can go ahead and sign this. Nothing's going to happen. Don't worry about it. Do you worry about that?
Look, I think we need to get beyond party lines. We've had this conversation with you and Erin many times. This is my view. I think America needs to get beyond party lines, Republican, Democrat, black, white, rich. We just need to get back to doing the right thing. And taking a stand against the abortion industry and protecting our babies, that is the right thing. And to me, it's about purpose, priority, and principle, and not parties, partisanship, and politics. It's long overdue. 60 million babies have been murdered. That's genocide. That's what happened. We and our school children should be taught what the communists did under Stalin and Soviet Union. 50, 60 million lives lost. Communist China, 50, 60 million or more people killed. Hitler, Cambodia. Called genocide. We need to stop. And when I believe that we need to confront the culture of death, I think we need to take the fight to the abortion industry. I think what they do is cowardly. They lie. Anyone notice that we spend 99.9% of our time talking about rape and incest, the cases which may occur in a fraction of 1% of the cases. So they've been dishonest. They have
what are the exceptions in your bill?
Well, there really aren't, except that, if a physician believes that the baby is not going to survive and potentially to protect the life of the mother.
Okay.
So,
and fetal heartbeat is at what point? What
well,
are the
and that's a
doctors
matter
telling
of debate. I've heard people say,
Yes.
experts say 18, 22 days. It might be 4, 5, 6 weeks. It's early on. But let me be clear. I believe abortion is murder. I believe murder is wrong. I think we need to take a stand and saying it's time to stop killing American babies. And why are we wandering around like, we just woke up out of a deep sleep and can't figure out why we have violence in the cities, while we have teenage suicides, while we have juvenile gangsters that have no regard for human life. Well, look, adults are saying it's okay to kill. I think we need to confront violence and crime and killing people at every level.
Are you optimistic, John, that Roe v. Wade will be overturned, and how soon?
John, let me sort of jump on the second second part. Is it part? You said let's talk big picture here, strategically. Is it part of the pro-life movement to have the pro-choice people challenge these state laws so it goes to the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade?
We absolutely want for this fight to end up in front of the United States Supreme Court, and we want it to end up there as many times as it takes for us to get it right. And that's one of the big reasons that people voted for President Trump, and I've supported President Trump. I made campaign contribution to him. We wrote a book exposing the scam of Robert Mueller's investigation of him, and one of the reasons is he has taken a stand for life. So absolutely, we're glad that he is trying to put people on the Supreme Court that have common sense, that are just, that respect human life, and will stop the killing of babies. And yes, we want as many cases as possible going to the Supreme Court and give them an opportunity to say Roe versus Wade is bad law. It's not constitutional that we have a right to kill babies. It's not in the Constitution that unborn babies do not have a right to life.
Senator John Milkovich, thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. John. A pleasure as always.
Hey, guys, thank you for the hard work. God bless you.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Sports just ahead. Traffic time now. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Hollywood Avenue and Linwood Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon. Mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Game 1 of the NBA Finals will be tonight in Toronto. The Raptors, playing for the first time for a championship, are actually 1-point favorites over the defending champion Golden State Warriors. Stanley Cup Finals last night, the St. Louis Blues, Carl Gunnarsson lit the lamp 3 minutes, 51 seconds into overtime to give the Blues a 3.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. R&E. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Was that too cynical a question about John Bell?
Yeah, John Bell's been pro-life all his life,
But
Robert. He's voted pro-life in every vote in the legislature.
Wait.
He's
And yet he's been on the fence. He never took a public position on Jeff Landry's hospital admissions thing.
Mm-hmm. He's voted pro-life. Every vote he's ever made has been pro-life. He had a doctor tell him he and his wife, they should abort their child.
I understand.
They said
and
no.
He made it part of his campaign.
And
he
it
had
was a big deal.
An actual TV
so
spot about
for
that.
him, I think it's genuine for him. I really do.
I hope so. But the point is that every step of the way, every single state law that passes, from Virginia, that was where Northam. See, I had that in the back of my head. He never publicly condemned Ralph Northam.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he was ever really asked, but you know what? I didn't need to be asked to go on the radio and make a statement about a governor of a state of the state of Virginia who said, well, you know, if a baby's born alive during an abortion, we should probably just let it die.
You know what's starting now? Big companies are starting to bail out of some states that have these tough anti-abortion
Good.
laws.
Screw them.
Netflix is the first to announce they may start pulling out of Georgia.
Okay. Well, let me ask you something.
okay.
Let's try this. Let's say it was 1960 or 61 or 62. And the state of Louisiana says, you know what? We're going to desegregate schools. No more separate but equal, in air quotes. We're going to desegregate schools. And Netflix goes, sorry, we're out of here. What would you say to that? The point is you have to take a moral stand somewhere.
Yep.
And you can't make your moral stand with your pocketbook. That's just not how it works.
Right.
So you know what? If Netflix wants to leave Georgia, or if they don't want to do movies in wherever it happens to be because of that, because the Democrat Party's stance of, you know what? You can have an abortion anytime. The baby is moments from being born.
Right.
Screw it. Kill it. Well, you know what? Screw them. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Sean Hannity.
Your morning cup of Sean. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
This is nothing but another round of lying, another round of conspiracy theories, another round of breathless hysteria, the creation of false hope in the left in this country that they're going to get Trump anyway, and they're not going to. We already have the answer. The Mueller report is done, dead, and finished. Anything you hear about it from now on is noise. If the Democrats want to try and impeach, they will guarantee 1,000% the re-election of Donald Trump. My advice to them is go for it. I think that's good for them. That, the Green New Deal, and never focus on helping the American people live in a safer, more secure, more prosperous country.
The conservative underground meets later today on the Sean Hannity Show.
Hey, let me tell you something about smoking. Guess what? It's not about politics. It's about people. Now, there are about 38 million Americans that smoke, and I want to tell you about my experience switching to Juul. I used to smoke cigars. I smoked them regularly. I even inhaled them at times. Not good. Everyone in my family growing up, they all smoked. And now that I've made the switch to Juul, guess what? I have found the best alternative ever. Now, Juul is designed with smokers in mind in terms of its form, technology. It's simple to use, no buttons, no switches. It is the satisfying alternative now for 1 in 8 American adults who like nicotine, like me. Now, to discover the smoking alternative that's nothing like any e-cig or vape you've ever tried, just go to Juul.com/SwitchAmerica. That's JUUL.com/SwitchAmerica. And learn more information at JUUL.com/SwitchAmerica.
.117 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic for one more time this hour. Here's Ruben.
Still looking at some slow-moving traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. Your Weather Channel forecast, kind of cloudy and scattered showers Oh, maybe heavy at times today, off and on into the evening. Well, late afternoon at least. High today in the low to middle 80s. Right now, 72 at Keel, 8 o'clock. Fox News on the way.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning, just past 8. It's Robert and Erin, 1017 FM and 710 Keel, and local news with Erin is just a couple of seconds off.
The fight over the crossing guards might not be over. The fetal heartbeat bill, the anti-abortion bill, passes in Louisiana, now headed to the governor, and we'll also be talking about medical marijuana.
Our boy, Daniel Ersbaumer, Chief Executive Officer, Pelican Institute think tank of Louisiana, in just a couple of seconds, talking about putting limits on the powers of legislators and the governor when it comes to the budget.
Yes.
Fletcher in sports, traffic. In fact, it's exactly something you and I have talked about. We'll bring that up.
I love it.
Fletcher sports, traffic, and weather. It's this hour coming up right here on Keel.
Report now on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Shreveport leaders facing a monumental financial crisis on the pension front. Councilman John Nicholson telling KEEL News the city's pension fund is dwindling.
The actuary report that we received showed that the funding ratio wasn't going up from 48. Instead, it went down last year to 41%.
Nicholson says the city's been battling this problem for years, but more changes will likely have to be made. Storms roar across Texas, damage reports still coming in, multiple tornadoes reported in the Canton, Texas area. The fetal heartbeat bill passes. This would outlaw almost all abortions, but the bill won't go into effect until the Mississippi law faces a full constitutional challenge. Lawmakers getting closer to making you put that cell phone down while driving. The House has passed a ban on handheld cell phones behind the wheel. The bill now headed to the Senate. Shreveport Council wants to talk about dilapidated shopping center. We get more on that from Matt Parker.
A large portion of the Bayou Walk Shopping Center has been closed for 5 years after the properties were deemed unsafe and unstable. Shreveport Councilman Grayson Butcher wants the city to take a look at the properties. Butcher said that he wants the city to work with the property owners to clean out the retail spaces, make sure they are structurally sound, and hopefully get them reopened. Butcher says not only are the properties an eyesore, but their condition will only get worse if not addressed soon. From 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Cal Alexander from Caddo Middle Magnet once again competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. It's his third trip to the competition finals, which will be airing on ESPN. The Shreveport Council votes to reduce funding to crossing guards by $75,000 a year, calling on the school board to chip in more. We got this reaction from Superintendent Dr. Lamar Gorey.
My charge is to provide quality education and to utilize our resources to ensure that teachers in the classroom have everything they need. I have no governance over governing public streets.
Currently, Shreveport police are paying more than $270,000, while the Caddo School Board pays about $12,000. Following the decision, the school board issued a statement saying public safety is not the responsibility of the school district. The House and Senate at odds over whether or not to include a $39 million funding increase for public schools on top of a $1,000 pay raise for teachers. A portion of the $39 million would help keep increased benefits costs from a pay raise from falling back on educators, and Louisiana Federation of Teachers President Larry Carter says the rest goes to the kids.
70% of that goes directly into the classroom for school supplies, technology, to help support students who have difficulties as well.
The union president says his members are frustrated that their pay is notably lower than other states, but they're willing to take baby steps toward a better wage. New privacy changes on the way for your Amazon Echo devices. You'll soon be able to tell Alexa to erase every command you've given her each day, so Amazon won't be able to collect and store your information. I'm Erin McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
On 7 FM 710 KEEL traffic time. Here's Ruben.
Still looking at some slow-moving traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon, mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
.1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. As always, that KEEL app is free to download and presented by Office Furniture Source. Mr. Daniel Erspalmer, an old friend, youthful and buoyant, actually. He is the chief executive officer of the Pelican Institute think tank.
That's that drink tank, right?
Yeah, think tank.
Think tank. Oh, my
Drink
bad.
tank is your weekend. Think tank is Daniel's. It's how he pays the bills.
Oh, boy. Sorry, Daniel.
You know, there is, and we're going to talk about, what is it, HB 147. Is that the right number I've got on that?
Yes, I believe that's
okay.
right.
Erin and I, every time all those committees get together and they do all the financial estimates and stuff, Erin and I always say that whatever number they come up with, say for example, it's $1 billion. Why just not lop off about 25% and spend that? It just makes sense. What is it about government that they feel the compulsion to spend every penny, every estimated penny, every possible penny that they hope they'll bring in? It's how I run my life. It's how you run yours, but not how government runs theirs. Mm-hmm. This bill would sort of address that specific problem, wouldn't it?
That's exactly right. You know, not only do they spend every dollar they project, but they, spend a little more than that. Find every little penny they can to spend. Yeah, so some late breaking news, but this bill, as you mentioned, would, if passed, very modestly say government should only allocate about 98%. So we're just asking to hold back 2%.
For a rainy day, right?
Alan Seabaugh made a point a couple of weeks ago, maybe less than that, on the floor of the State House. And he said basically that what Governor John Bell Edwards, what John Bell calls a deficit, is really nothing more than a wish list of what he wants to spend. Do you agree with that?
I do. I agree entirely with that. This is how we got in this mess to begin with. You'll remember this whole crazy idea called a continuation budget, which just means, hey, we're going to just start our negotiating point with this is what we spent last year, and let's add to that. And if we don't get everything in that, we're calling that a cut. When you don't grow spending enough, that's what we now call a cut. It's really quite magic.
So this bill,
quite magic.
it limits the spending. You can only spend 98% of the general fund money, right?
That's correct.
You got a prayer?
No. And
in a word,
late last night, while of course no one is looking, the Senator Alario, the Senate President, did a parliamentary trick they called dual refer. So sending this bill back through another committee, and which essentially sends this modest little idea to purgatory for a while. And with the session wrapping up next week, it's likely now to be dead. But this is just it is such an example, and I'm a little fired up about it this morning. Of a Senate that is a place where good ideas in Louisiana go to die, and it shouldn't be controversial.
A number of legislators who sort of gallop off on these quixotic adventures, i.e., legislation proposals, ideas that they have that literally have no chance of going anywhere. They say after the fact, well, at least we've started the conversation. When it comes to this kind of common sense approach to state budgeting, have you at least started the conversation? Did you get a lot of people in your corner saying this is a good idea, or from the go did you know that there was a tag on the toe when you showed up?
No, this absolutely, it passed overwhelmingly in the House. It passed through several committees, including a Senate committee earlier this week. So lots of people on board with this idea. This is not a case, and we need to be clear about this, not a case where we lost a vote. This is a case where parliamentary tactics came into play to make sure it never got one.
Would it have passed in the Senate if Alario hadn't played his dirty tricks?
It's a good question. There's certainly no guarantee it would have passed, but our conversations and engagement with senators around the state suggested there was momentum for this idea. It's not that controversial. It shouldn't be anyway. This is pretty common sense stuff. And so we felt, again, not a foregone conclusion, but we're quite optimistic based on initial vote counts that we could have gotten.
But here's little Bobby being little cynical Bobby once again. Doesn't it happen that a lot of legislators know they can vote for something, so when it comes time to campaign, they can say, I was for this, knowing that it's going to die later and that they don't have to back it up.
That's right. It happens all the time, and frankly, in the last several years, the Senate has been that backstop for folks because, again, the good ideas, the good reforms, particularly in the space of fiscal sanity and responsibility, have all been killed in the Senate. I'll add to that, the Senate passed a budget that just continues to heap new money. Where they're coming up with it, I'm not entirely certain. You and I, the three of us, talked at length last year about raising taxes, and yet we seem to now be finding all sorts of money we can spend.
John, we have more constitutional amendments in the state of Louisiana than people eat crawfish every year. It seems if something like this ever is to have a chance, is it going to have to be through something constitutional?
It might have to be, if for no other reason than a way to get citizens talking about this issue even more. I mean, we have to demand more from our elected officials, and it's one of the reasons we've talked about the potential of a constitutional convention or some other means, because our legislative process is broken. I know there are big elections coming up and a lot of turnover coming. We have to demand more of folks who ask for our votes.
What else are you watching as we wind this session down?
So we're obviously, another the sort of Debbie Downer this morning, but another bill that common sense bill that was killed recently would have allowed the legislative auditor, access to, without names or anything attached, tax records to be able to better see where Medicaid expansion dollars were being spent poorly. Moving forward, we're obviously keeping an eye on any tax bills that are moving. There's some health care stuff people need to be paying attention to related to pharmaceuticals that could end up raising prices and raising costs to do business in Louisiana. And we're looking for any measures related to making sure we can spend our transportation trust fund dollars on actually building roads rather than paying overhead and salaries. So still a lot of action here to come in the next week and a half, but The Senate has done a bunch of dirty work in the last couple of days when no one's watching by killing some bills that were really important.
Daniel Erspamer, Pelican Institute. Thanks for your time, sir.
Great stuff as always, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you, friends. Thank you.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben's here. Traffic time.
Still looking at some slow-moving traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon. Mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
On 7 FM, 710 Keel Sports Time.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Game 1 of the NBA Finals will be tonight in Toronto. The Raptors, playing for the first time for a championship, are actually 1-point favorites over the defending champion Golden State Warriors. Stanley Cup Finals last night, the St. Louis Blues, Carl Gunnarsson lit the lamp 3 minutes, 51 seconds into overtime to give the Blues a 3-2 win over Boston in Boston to even the series at 1 win apiece. That's the first Stanley Cup Finals win after 13 losses for the St. Louis Blues. They had the worst finals record in any U.S. professional sport before that goal from Gunnarsson. The Cubs beat the Astros 2-1 last night. Kyle Hendricks, his fourth straight win. Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, each hit home runs. Albert Almora Jr. lined a foul ball into the seats that injured a young girl during the game last night. Astros officials say the girl was taken to a hospital but provided no further updates. Almora was visibly shaken immediately, and between innings, he and a security guard who was in the area where the girl was hit consoled each other, and you could see that Almora was still visibly shaking and crying. Almora, the father of 2 young boys, said afterward, "God willing, I'll be able to have a relationship with this little girl for the rest of my life." The Rangers beat the Mariners 8-7. Seattle committed 3 errors and a wild pitch in 1 inning. They lead the league with 63 errors overall. Hunter Pence, Shin-Soo Choo, and Asdrubal Cabrera each had 2 RBI for the Rangers. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
I don't think she's gonna.
Yeah,
Blah,
I think,
blah,
I
blah.
think
No,
so.
I don't think she's gonna.
I think so.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. No, I don't think she is.
I think she will. No, she's not going to chicken out. No, she's not.
Who is it?
Shreveport Union President Sheila Johnson.
Who is Sheila Johnson? She's been on before.
Yes, she has. She was with the sanitation workers. We had a long discussion with her about that.
Yeah.
She's now making some pretty serious allegations and used the word corruption and mistreatment
In reference to
streets and drainage workers. And
wait. She has used publicly.
Oh yeah.
The word corruption.
Yep.
She has used publicly the word mistreatment.
Yep.
When it comes to the treatment of city
employees.
In which department again?
I want to hear more. Streets and drainage right now.
Okay.
That may
now
expand.
that's in the middle of all the consent decree stuff. They're in the middle of all of that.
You bet. And I need to hear more about specifics. To see if she can tell us more about it.
What was the context of her comments? What was she
Well,
doing? Walking down the street? Somebody stuck a mic in her face?
No, she came up to the council in defense of Edward Savannah. He was the guy who was the mayor's nominee to be deputy streets and drainage director. I think that was the title. And
was that a position that previously existed?
Yeah, and it was vacant. I guess they needed somebody in that spot, and he was nominated, and he was. An anonymous letter was sent to some council members saying that he had some things in his past.
He had a spotty background.
Yeah, that they might want to check out before they hired him.
It was sent to Councilman, was it Fleury, among others? Who else?
Bradford got a copy, I think. I'm not sure who else got a copy. I don't know. But in the interim, the mayor pulled his name from nomination. He, by the way, let's play that now because he got up before the city council this week. And he was hot and bothered. He's mad at you and I.
About what?
He was mad at Lewis and Stephen.
About what?
About maligning his character.
How's about Adrian? Was he mad at Adrian?
He was mad at Adrian.
Sounds like a mad guy.
He was mad at the city council. He was upset. He thinks his name has been besmirched wrongly, and he was really upset.
When I get to the bottom of this, Shreveport can have Shreveport because this is never going to change. And the next person decides to run for any office, do not contact me. I'd rather work both for a person of color with a hood over his head before I vote for another brother.
Pretty strong.
What else did he say?
He said that they know how to get to the bottom of this. He said, Mayor, you can override this. You're the mayor. You and I talked about this before you were elected.
Wait, what?
That's almost a direct quote. You and I talked about this before you were elected.
Referring to
him getting a job. That's what it referred to. And
we need to pull a big segment of that for tomorrow.
We need to get a hunk of it. Yeah, we need to get a hunk of it. But he did. His uncle got up later, and his uncle made reference to. I need to find this cut too later, Matt. I know this is a lot of work, but his uncle got up later and referenced the meeting. And if you're just on this train, there was a meeting at a park, Betty, Virginia Park, with some city workers who were upset, garbage workers, who were very upset. And this is right before the election. And
is this that story about? This isn't the story about somebody in a Perkins campaign.
Yeah, that was Mr. Savannah apparently in the Perkins T-shirt, and he was vice president of the union. So he said that's what he did. He was there as representing the workers and trying to mend the bridge between the candidates.
But isn't there something about, isn't there something about city workers or civil servants or something like that can't have to remain publicly neutral?
I'm not sure about that. That's a good point. I don't know about that. But his uncle made a statement. He quickly backed off yesterday or Tuesday at the meeting that Adrian Perkins may have said something to them. I'm not going to even say this. We need to pull the cut because it's...
You don't want to get it wrong.
I don't want to get it wrong, but that there was... Never mind. I'm not going to say it because I'll get it wrong and I'll screw it up and then I'll get texts from the mayor's people.
That's oh no.
But we're hoping Sheila Johnson joins us at 8:40 because she made some serious allegations
to talk about her use of the word corruption and mistreatment.
What's going on with the workers?
Of city sewer worker employees.
Yeah.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL local news next. Here's Ruben, traffic update right now on KEEL.
Keeping an eye on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon. Mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
KEEL News now.
At least one, possibly more tornadoes slamming towns in East Texas. National Weather Service forecaster Jared Geyer.
It does appear that there were at least several tornadoes in and around the east of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. In particular, it does look like the Canton, Texas area was impacted by a tornado yesterday afternoon based on preliminary reports. There are probably a couple of other tornadoes scattered about the area, but in general, those were across the northeast part of Texas.
No serious injuries reported. A large part of the Bayou Walk shopping center has been closed for 5 years after the properties were deemed unsafe and unstable. Councilman Grayson Butcher wants the city to take a look at the properties. He says he wants the city to work with the property owners to clean out the retail spaces, make sure they're structurally sound, and hopefully get them reopened. A local student to compete in the National Spelling Bee. Matt Parker with that.
Cal Alexander from Caddo Middle Magnet is once again competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. This is Alexander's third trip to the competition's finals, but Cal isn't the only North Louisiana student to advance to the finals of the contest. Davika Dua from Ruston and Brene Washington from Monroe have also advanced in the contest. The finals of the competition will air on ESPN. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Patients in Louisiana still without medical marijuana. The first round of medicinal marijuana was due at pharmacies the first of the year, but due to red tape and several delays, the medicine still hasn't made its way to patients. According to GB Sciences, the first batch should make its way to customers in June, but many fear another round of delays. A bill banning you from holding your cell phone while behind the wheel is headed to the Senate after a heated discussion on the House floor. Slidell Representative Kevin Pearson says the legislation will save money on insurance rates, but more importantly, likely save the lives of Louisiana drivers, particularly teenagers.
If someone comes to you and says you're taking away my individual rights, say, well, I'm just trying to save your life.
But opponents hammered home the argument that the proposal was government overreach. Shreveport leaders facing a monumental financial crisis on the pension front. Councilman John Nicholson telling KEEL News the city's pension fund is dwindling.
We now are in an even worse situation than we were last year, and the actuaries' projections show that if we don't do something, if we don't change something, our pension system assets will continue to decline in a way that will threaten our ability to keep the promises that we are making.
Nicholson says the city's been battling this problem for years, but more changes will likely have to be made. The fetal heartbeat bill passes. This would outlaw almost all abortions, but the bill won't go into effect until the Mississippi law faces a full constitutional challenge. Cal Alexander from Caddo Middle Magnet once again competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. It's his third trip to the competition finals, which will be airing on ESPN. The Shreveport Council votes to reduce funding to crossing guards by $75,000 a year, calling on the school board to chip in more. We got this reaction from Superintendent Dr. Lamar Gorey.
You know, my concern, of course, is the public safety. We do see this as a public safety issue, and again, timeliness of communication with families, because this is a service that our citizens, our parents, rely on the city to provide. So very concerned with how this will play out.
Currently, Shreveport police are paying more than $270,000, while the Caddo School Board pays about $12,000. Following the decision, the school board issued a statement saying public safety is not the responsibility of the school district. Most Americans are satisfied when they fly. In fact, 7 years in a row, the satisfaction index is up. And the NFL owners are talking about expanding the season to 18 games. Players not in favor of it. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin. I should tell the story about my brothers betting again because it's, I mean, you know both my brothers. You don't know them well. Which one have you met the most? Have you spent the most time around, Hal or Bill or neither?
Neither, really.
It's everybody in my family gambles on everything. Everyone in my family, save for myself, gambles on everything. They got that from my dad. My dad was, I've told you, my dad was Magic Beans guy.
Yes.
What? Trade the cow for the magic beans? Hell yeah. Everybody's got a cow. Nobody's got magic beans.
Right.
But I'm my mother's, like, when it comes to stuff like that, I am like, oh, this is going to be bad. No good comes of gambling.
Right.
It's the devil. It's a tool of the devil. The point being, my brothers will bet on anything. So we're out. I meant to tell you this like Monday or Tuesday. I just didn't. And we're hopping in the car. And we see, I'm not going to name the spot, but like in the bushes, where the grass was grown up, and there was like a pair of blue jeans in the grass, just somebody's blue jeans.
Yeah.
And one of my brothers says, "How do you lose your blue? How do you leave your blue jeans behind? What could have happened?"
Maybe you sagged right out of them.
And and the point being, we all came up with our theories, some less tasteful than others. The point being, we're getting in the car, and they start talking about what size they were.
Oh, my.
And at some point, the conversation evolves into a bet about the size of the balloon.
Are you kidding me?
Look, there's people, and you hear it every Super Bowl. You know, there's websites you can go to where you can gamble on the length of the national anthem, the over and under on the length of the national anthem, or the over. You can bet on what the flip of the coins, the toss of the coin is going to be, right? Well, my brothers are those guys. They'll gamble on anything.
Yeah.
So not only did they gamble, did they make a bet on the size of the muddy, gross blue jeans in the where there's snakes and stuff. God. It was an over-under bet on the combination of the waist size and the inseam.
Oh, the total?
And the over-under was 66. One brother had over 66 combo. One brother had under. It was They got out of the car, It's nighttime.
You go back and pick up these dirty jeans.
Got the flashlight on their phone, God knows how long, and through how many.
Oh,
I mean, this
my
is like an hour
gosh.
after the rain. They're holding these, like, get some tongs, boys.
These boys are crazy.
They were 36-32s. The over-under was 68.
Uh-huh.
The bet was 66.
Wow.
They'll
Unbelievable.
bet on anything.
Unbelievable.
You're pointing at your phone. What?
We're hoping to have Sheila Johnson on next. She is the Shreveport Union leader for the Shreveport City Workers.
What does hoping mean? Be blunt.
Well, she wasn't sure she could get out of what she was involved in right away, but we're going to try to catch up with her here
Is that
next.
a euphemism or those buzzwords?
I don't know. We will see. We'll give her a buzz and see.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Traffic update now from Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on McDade Street near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon. Mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons. Lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
Can't talk yourself out of dumped. Remember that line?
Yeah.
Can't talk yourself out of dumped. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty.
Oh, she couldn't get out of it, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Doggone it.
Yeah, whatever you want to think.
She did say after 9, so maybe we tape her after 9 o'clock this morning.
No, have her come in.
Yeah, I will, because she won't be able to come in. She works. She's got a job.
Come on.
She's got an early morning
job. You want to spill the beans. You want to sell out. You want to uncover what she used the word corruption, not you and me.
Yeah.
She used the word mistreatment, not you and me.
Yeah, she did. She did. I'll catch up with her. I'll find her. She's a busy lady. She got a lot to do.
You had yesterday filling in for me, City Councilwoman Lavette Fuller.
Mm-hmm.
What's the latest on saggy pants? I missed Tuesday's saggy pants drama.
She said it might be 6-1 or 5-2. I might lose the double or nothing bet. She says she thinks that one council member will definitely vote against repealing.
Who's that?
The ordinance. She said it would be Fleury. She said he's getting a lot of pushback from his constituents. She didn't name the other one, so I don't. But Nicholson, I asked bluntly, "Are you voting to repeal it?" And he said yes. So
did he explain why? Did he say libertarian, as in my case, libertarian
we shouldn't
and/or constitutional?
We shouldn't be telling people how to dress. Yeah, we shouldn't be. And you know the thing was when you look at the numbers, we haven't written minimal tickets for women showing their thongs.
The original point that Ms. Fuller made in introducing this legislation was one of the major points she said was that it pinpointed a specific subculture.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be unfair to say that when the bill 12 years ago was introduced by Shreveport City Councilman, African-American Calvin Lester, and signed into law by Shreveport Mayor, African-American Cedric Glover, that the purpose of that bill, the original purpose of that legislation, the saggy pants legislation, was in fact to pinpoint a specific subculture.
They were trying, it was more to send a message about, hey, you shouldn't dress like this. You shouldn't do this.
If you are going to pass a law that pinpoints us, to use Ms. Fuller's words, and I think it would be incredibly naive to think that at the time Councilman Lester or former Mayor, now State Representative Glover, didn't know who this was going to pinpoint. I think you'd have to be even more naive to think that it never occurred to them. I just don't believe that it never occurred to them that it would increase the number of, for lack of a better term, confrontations between the police and the subculture that the bill was passed to pinpoint.
I agree. And, she made a great point. Two that I want to share with you in case you missed it.
Wait, pardon me. Don't forget your point, because I want to come back to that. If that's the case, if the original purpose introduced by Councilman Lester and signed into law by then Mayor Glover was in fact to pinpoint a specific subculture, what was at the time the purpose of that legislation? What was the logic behind the legislation in the eyes of Councilman Lester and Mayor Glover? Did you hear from Mayor Glover? Did he?
Oh, yeah. He sent me, and we went over that in detail yesterday.
What did he say?
He said it was part of Operation T-Bone to take back our neighborhoods, and that it was all part of trying to reduce the crime efforts. Now,
so in fact, it was, pardon me once again, it was therefore purposely, the purpose of saggy pants was to pinpoint a specific subculture, to let them know the police are watching you, and purposefully to increase the number of encounters between police and said subculture, in air quotes.
But if you set all that aside, and I asked Lavette Fuller this yesterday, if the numbers had borne it out that women with thongs, plumbers with their butts hanging out, and African-American men were being equally cited based on this law, would you be asking for a repeal today? And she said, absolutely.
Well, of course not. But the point is...
will you give me a minute?
Go ahead.
She said, absolutely, I would still want to repeal it. Because we don't need to be telling people how to dress. That's not the government's job to tell people how to dress. And she said, and what we're creating by this law is a pipeline to jail. Because she says, guess what happens if Matt gets a ticket for busting a sag? He gets a ticket, he has to pay $100. Guess what's happening now? They're not paying the $100. So guess what then happens? There's a warrant for their arrest. And then if they get stopped for anything, they go to jail. She said, you're starting a criminal record on people at a young age, all because of the way they're dressing. And that point hit home for me. I thought, God, do we really want to start people's criminal record because we saw their tighty-whities?
Then what was the original point? I'm asking this rhetorically, but I want you to answer. Then what was the original point of the legislation introduced by Calvin Lester and signed into law by Mayor Glover?
It was more appearance. It was more a thing of appearance. People were tired of seeing...
No. They wanted to pinpoint that specific subculture, i.e., young black gang guys. And they wanted to let them know that the cops are watching you. And they wanted to purposefully increase the number of interactions between those two.
The heat on those kids.
Yes. That was the purpose.
Well, if they would have known they could turn the clock forward and realized that this would have only been used against young African American men.
Would you say that?
I don't think they would vote for it the way they did.
Would you say that every text, every communication that we have had from former Mayor Glover in the interim since this was introduced by Ms. Fuller, he has not voiced any regret. He has explained to us why he did, which in my mind, to extrapolate to just a little bitty bit, is exactly what I've just been saying. That it was, in fact, intended to, as a safety measure, to increase police presence and to some degree, and I don't mean this in a bad way, intimidation.
The intent is great, all well and good. Is it legal? I don't know. I don't think you can tell people how to dress. And I'm quite honestly, in going through all these stories, I'm very shocked that this has never been challenged legally. I'm really kind of surprised that nobody that got a ticket for busting a SAG ever took the city to court. If they did, I haven't heard about it.
By
an ACLU lawyer, somebody.
It's basically in your mind and in the mind of Ms. Fuller doing a head count, a canvas of city council members behind the scenes. It is, for all intents and purposes, legislation that it's done. It will be repealed.
Oh, and the mayor came out full force, for the repeal. Absolutely for it.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports, just a couple of seconds away. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon. Mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
Last December, then-candidate Perkins told the Shreveport Times that he had no involvement with the citywide garbage strike, saying, quote, I wouldn't have authorized this at all.
And at the center of this strike of sanitation workers was a man by the name of Ed Savannah, a former city employee who had allegedly instigated sanitation workers not to come to work. However, at the city council meeting, Ed Savannah's uncle appeared and wanted to clear his nephew's name and restore his reputation. He said it was not his nephew who incited the strike, but actually it was then candidate Adrian Perkins who requested the sanitation workers to walk out and make sure their votes count.
Either Mr. Perkins was not telling the truth in December or Ed Savannah's uncle was not telling the truth just days ago. Both statements cannot be true.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So sports gambling for all intents and purposes. I was out yesterday and you had
It's dead.
Ronnie Jones. What happened? I mean, basically it was a pretty simple bill. Y'all want to bet on like football games and stuff at the casinos. But then at the end of the day, it ended up in committee where basically, what's the old story? A camel is a horse by committee.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Well, yeah, it went to one committee, made it out, and then basically the same thing that happened to Daniel Palmer's bill, where they enacted some rule where it goes to another committee to make sure it doesn't get out.
The committee of death.
So pardon me just a second, not to get way off track, but for the sort of the last thought of the day of the show of the day. When we talk to John Milkovich about different politicians' stands on abortion, or we talk to Daniel Palmer about different politicians' stands on fiscal responsibility in government, how many of them actually can say, yes, I'm for and or against this, or against and or for this, knowing that down the line, understanding how the parliamentary procedure of the state legislatures works, or the state legislature works, knowing I can say, I'm for fiscal responsibility, by God.
Right.
Knowing that it's going to die in committee in a week.
Yeah.
So you're on the record. I am for fiscal responsibility for Louisiana.
We need to do better.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, knowing.
It's dead.
And to a great degree, already having discussed with your boys, behind the scenes, look, I'm going to vote for this.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your committee in 10 days to 2 weeks, you're really going to kill this, right? Yeah. No sweat.
Oh, goodness.
Welcome to Baton Rouge. Welcome to Louisiana.
What a mess.
Parkey, you're rolling. Go ahead.
It just disappoints me that we send these people here to do our bidding, and then they do their own thing for their own personal reasons.
Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty. Tomorrow, potentially, could be the greatest show of all time. I'm not joking.
I'm working on some cool stuff.
It's time for you to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Back tomorrow morning, Robert and Erin, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Kim Commando.
We all know we're being tracked, where we go and what we do on our phones. Now, a bombshell report reveals the tracking really goes to work when we're sleeping. Kim Commando with your Thursday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your online activity from hackers today and get 3 months free at expressvpn.com/Kim. The Washington Post report reveals when you're sleeping, your phone truly goes to work sending names, email addresses, location data, IP addresses, accelerometer data, and more to app companies and third-party networks. And big names too. Microsoft's OneDrive, Intuit's Mint, Nike, Spotify, the Weather Channel, Yelp, and DoorDash are just a few of the many apps whose trackers take large amounts of our data when we're asleep. What can you do? Get into your phone settings and turn off background app refresh. And also, set limit ad tracking and intelligent tracking prevention. This won't stop all the tracking because your data is worth a lot of money. I'm Kim Commando.
Well, guys are terrible at taking care of their health. Whether it's a knee injury or a bad back, we're usually more comfortable rubbing some dirt on it than seeing a doctor. The same is true for erectile dysfunction. Studies show that 75% of guys who experience ED don't get treated for it. But thankfully, Roman created a convenient way to get evaluated by a doctor and get treated for ED online. With Roman, you can connect with a U.S. licensed physician. And if treatment is right for you, Roman can ship your prescription right to your door. There's no waiting rooms or uncomfortable trips to the pharmacy. You can handle everything discreetly online. Complete an online visit, chat with a doctor, and if treatment is right for you, they ship genuine medication in discreet, unmarked packaging. Erectile dysfunction is a problem that guys don't tackle, but with Roman, it's easy to talk to a doctor. For a free online visit and free 2-day shipping, go to GetRoman.com/Mike. That's GetRoman.com/Mike.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on McDade Street near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cloudy skies here this morning. Still a chance for a stray shower or storm, but as we head into this afternoon, clouds will break up and give way to sunshine. 88 this afternoon. Mid-60s tonight. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow with highs in the low 90s. Weekend forecast, mix of clouds and sun and hot. Highs both afternoons, lower part of the 90s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
Breaking news and trending talk. KEEL, 710 AM and K269GO, 1017 FM, Shreveport.